Hey guys, so welcome back. I'm apparently losing my voice, so that's nice. Um, I wanted to do something different today. Obviously, I usually talk about books and do like reviews and things like that, but I wanted to do kind of like a review slash like compare and contrast of Casey McQuiston's book Red, White, and Royal Blue, and then the new movie that is based off of her book that's on Prime Video if you have it. So let me start by saying I don't want to say that I'm not a, well, let's be real. I'm not a fan of the book. That is not to say that it was bad or like the worst book I ever read or anything like that. I just wasn't a fan of it. Um, First of all, like the book is, it's written from Alex's point of view. And like, that's not bad, obviously. But like, I feel like when you have two main characters, like like maybe like dual point of views should have been the way to go, because the only time we ever saw like what Alex, or not, excuse me, Alex, but what Henry was thinking, or anything like that, was in his text and emails to Alex, which is not bad. But I felt like after reading, well, yeah, after reading the book, I felt like I didn't really know Henry. Like he just came off like very like two-dimensional in a way. Like it was just like, oh, okay, so you're the prince and your mom is suffering from like major depressive disorder because she like, well, she won't come out of her room. She doesn't want to like be around anybody. She's just very much withdrawn. Your dad's dead. Your grandmother is kind of overbearing. Your brother sucks, and your sister had a cocaine addiction, but now she's better. And you suffer from bouts of depression as well. And that was it. Like I didn't feel anything for him. Like you know what I mean? Like when him and Alex interacted, like I didn't really feel like, oh my god, like like I didn't cry during the book. I didn't like swoon or anything like that. If I'm being honest, I kind of just wanted the book to be over at a lot of parts. So that was, different or whatever. And then Alex, I'm not going to say he's an unlikable protagonist because he is likable, but it was kind of like, I don't know. I felt like he wasn't really fleshed out either. Like, he was supposed to be like some shy, awkward, like nerdy type guy. And then like when he's in front of the cameras, he turns up the charm, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm America's favorite son. And then like he hated Henry for like no reason. And like I get it's supposed to be like an enemies to lovers storyline, but like usually it's like something like there, like, oh, like from ages like 10 to 12, he would beat me up after school or something. You know what I mean? Like it's something like that. Like there's like a concrete reason why he hates him. And in the book, I just really didn't understand why he hated him. Like he was just like, he's like, he's so snobby and he like blah blah blah. But there was like no real like big moment, if that makes sense, to make him like just be like, oh, I hate him so much. Now you could, I guess you can also make the argument that in the book it was because he was harboring secret feelings for Henry, from a very young age, which, I mean, that's a little bit of a spoiler, but because like in the book he talks about how like he saw him on like the cover of like J14 magazine or something like that, like one of those teeny bopper magazines, and he was like, oh, like I would like outline his hair and wonder how soft his hair was, things like that. So like clearly he was harboring some type of like emotional like stuff for Henry, which, I mean, okay. But I don't know. I just really wasn't sold on the book. Like it was okay. It was a decent read. Um I liked Nora, I like, which is his best friend. I like June, his sister. I didn't really care too much for his mom, Ellen, the president. Um, I I liked his dad. I think his name was Oscar. I think that's his dad's name. I really liked his dad. I like the Raphael Luna character. And I liked B, Henry's sister. So there was like so obviously there's some stuff that kept me going. This is the second time I picked up this book. The first time I picked up the book, I don't even think I made it through the first chapter, and I was just like, I'm good, I'll pass. But I'm very much a mood reader, so I don't think, when the book came out, when I read that first chapter, I was like ready for it in terms of like, I don't think I thought it was a YA novel. And it's not. It's for adults. The main characters are like 21, 20, 5-ish. So, I mean, technically it could be like young adult, but like um it's it's not your like typical like, oh, like we fell in love, and it's not like a coming of age story because they've already kind of like found themselves in a sense. They're just trying to work through it. So it was. I don't know. I think I picked it up wanting a YA novel, and I was just like, oh, this is an adult romance novel, and I'm not in the mood to read it right now. And then I kind of just completely forgot about it. Then obviously I saw that Prime Video was making a movie out of it, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it another shot. Maybe it's good. Um, whatever. So, but I am a firm believer that you should most of the time read the book first. Just, just throwing that out there. So I did that. So now, obviously, I was just kind of like about the book. The movie is so cute. Like it was so 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 cute. Um, and I'd probably not probably. I will watch this movie again. I watched it like last night, so obviously I'll wait a little bit before I watch it again. But it was so 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 cute. They did change some stuff from the book. Some for the better, some for the worse. I'll go through the big changes first. One of the big changes is in this movie, Alex is the only child. So they completely eliminate his sister June, um, which is which is fine. Um, and then they gave Nora some screen time, but just I guess like not as much as I wanted him to. I kind of felt like her character was still kind of underutilized. Like she was Alex's sounding board and stuff like that, but the whole like them, dating like before, which is what they did in the book, that was eliminated. You know, so it does change some of the dynamics of his family. In the book, Alex's parents are divorced, and his mom has a or not his mom. His mom has a husband, like a new husband. So Alex has a stepdad, and that was kind of a change that I appreciated because I do feel like in the book there was a lot of characters. Not that that's a bad thing, but they were like you only would get like a snippet. Like his stepdad seemed like a nice guy, but like I don't really know. I can't even remember his stepdad's name. I don't remember like what his stepdad did in terms of like as a job. Like I know he's the first man, but like what did he do before that? You know what I mean? I just can't even remember his dad. He was just like kind of a non-factor. So they do make his parents like stay together, which is to me that's fine. It does change the dynamics of like the mom, like because the one of the mom's biggest complaints was like, oh, like she because she got a divorce and because she's the first woman, like it's hard for her to like really represent like this nuclear family value type esque situation, that her because her obviously her opponent keeps bringing that up like, well, she's divorced, she can't even take care of her own family, she can't even keep her family together, and you think she can take America and keep America together. Obviously, like it's a bullshit argument, but whatever. So, like they kind of like took that out, which I mean, I don't blame them, just to streamline the process. Like, obviously, she can talk about family values, like a nuclear family value standpoint, if she's married to her husband. So, whatever, I get it. Definitely think they underutilized the dad. I wasn't really into Uma Thurman being the mom. Don't get me wrong, I love Uma Thurman. I think it was just the fact that I have never seen Uma Thurman with like a really deep southern drawl, and it just was like really weird because it was like she's from Pulp Fiction, like she's dancing on the table barefoot. Like I don't know, it was just really hard for me to like wrap my mind around like the Uma Thurman that I like grew up with, and Kill Bill and Pulp Fiction, like all of those movies, and now she's got a deep southern accent. I mean, the accent was good. It wasn't like it was terrible or like hokey. It was just like, huh? Like what? You don't sound like that. So it was a little minor thing. Um, Now when it comes to Henry's family, his sister and his brother were still there. I think in the movie they made B his younger sister, and if I'm not mistaken, in the book, she is the middle child and Henry is the baby. Um, they really just kind of shortened her storyline. Like, she was just like the cute kid sister who just was kind of there in the background. Like, she had conversations with Henry, that was his sounding board. That was about it. So, obviously, no storyline of her like drug use. And her recovery, none of that. She was very much a badass in the movie, or in excuse me, in the book. Not so much in the movie. Like I said, she's just kind of there in the background. Um, Henry's brother is still a asshole, so that was that. So whatever. The biggest difference is, one, we don't see Henry's mom on screen at all. Whereas in the book, she's definitely mentioned. She plays a really big part when everything comes out about Henry and Alex having a relationship and stuff. Like, she blackmails the queen, and it was really cute. It was really nice. She like she stepped up. Um, in the movie, it's just kind of like an offhand remark, like, "Oh, my mom is off there like saving the elephants or something in another country. Like, I'd have to grow like tusk in order for her to pay attention to me." So she kind of came off more of like a neglectful, like, "Oh, I just want to save the world" type person, instead of like worrying about her three kids that she has. Now, because we don't know much about her in the movie, maybe she didn't go off and save the elephants until her kids had become like 18 or something. Because obviously Henry is like in his 20s, so like who's to say like that was a big deal, um, you know that she was like gone or whatever. We don't see the queen, um, which okay, so the big bad guy on Henry's side of the family is actually the king. I feel like they only changed it from the queen to the king for the simple fact that obviously homegirl, the queen of England, she died. So I feel like out of respect or whatever, they just changed it. And they had my guy Stephen Fry be the king, and even though he was only in there for like one scene, I love Stephen Fry. He's the one. Um, I loved him in Bones. I love that story arc. Anyway, so yeah, that was like the biggest differences when it came to the family dynamics between the two main characters. Another big thing is, obviously I mentioned Raphael Luna. I'm not gonna tell you, I guess, what happened in the story with Raphael Luna, just because if I say it, then it'll give away the big like twist reveal situation. But they completely eliminated Raphael Luna, and they got this like skeezy, like dude named, I think his name was like Miguel or something, and he's like a journalist, and he's literally like skis buckets. Like as soon as they first introduced him, he just was like, I don't know. I think it's his face. Unfortunately, I think that man just has one of those faces where he's gonna have a hard time playing like a good guy. He just looks like a bad guy, and I'm not giving anything away because when you see him in the movie, you're gonna be like, he's skeezy, like he's just scum, and he ends up being scum. So they did change like the subplot of like the mom and her like campaign and the two like front runners for the presidential race, like the whole thing that happens with them. So you know that I get because they made the changes with Ellen and her and Oscar still being married, and her not being like divorced and then remarried. I see why they went with a different bad guy um, for the movie. Because you make those changes, you kind of have to make it make sense, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, I'm not shocked. Like I understand like when they make books to movies, you have to cut out certain like secondary characters, especially if you're putting like high profile actors in the movie. Uma Thurman, you can't tell me that that's a $20 a day actress. You know what I mean? Like, not saying that the other ones are, but you know what I mean? Like, something tells me she's like, oh no, I've been in the game for decades, so you're gonna pay me accordingly, even if I'm on the screen for 5 minutes. So it was kind of like one of those things. I did not like the Miguel guy. Like I liked him because they streamlined like the plot of how everything unfolds, but he was just you knew he was smarmy. Like you just knew he was. Like so it was like one of those things. And then there's like really really small things that um like happen in the book versus the movie. Like at one point in the book, Henry gives Alex his signet ring, and then Alex wears it on his necklace that has his like um, house key from Texas on it. So it's he makes some statement about like both his homes being in one place or something. It was really cute. It was a cute little sentiment. Whereas in the movie, Henry gives Alex his signet ring, and then Alex gives Henry his house key like necklace, so that they have like a piece of each other, which I think is I personally think it's cuter in the movie. Um, just because I don't know, it's cute. Like when you share things, I don't know, it's really cute. And I'm trying to think like what other main things. Yeah, I mean, it still had steam in there, when it comes to that part of the storyline. So that was nice. If you're into that, it's very much like it's not graphic, so it's not like you're watching like a. But you know what I mean. So, um, it's not graphic, but it is nice. Like that they put the things in there or whatever. Like the scenes of steam. But yeah, I think those are the main differences. I don't know. I don't usually do this often, but if um, someone asked if they needed to read the book prior to watching the movie, I would say no. I definitely enjoyed the movie way more than I enjoyed the book. So, again, maybe I'm biased. Um, like I don't know. Obviously, I'm not gonna tell anyone that they can't read anything. Um, but put it this way: if somebody asks me about it, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, you should totally watch that movie." If someone asks me about the book, I'm gonna be like, oh, I mean, yeah, it's a nice book. So I'll let you guys decide if you want to like drop in the comments and tell me how you guys felt about the book or the movie. Feel free to. But yeah, that'll be it.